Chayora is a Hong Kong headquartered specialist business that focuses just on mainland China. We're a developer, investor and operator of hyperscale data center campuses in some of the biggest population growth areas in China. China's a fascinating country. It's the largest online market in the world today. Just under 800 million people are online, which is more than the combined populations online of the United States and India, which is something to think about. And it's unique in that every other major economy in the world, international companies can access it just over the internet. The national firewall in China means that you can't do that in China. In order to access this 800 million going on 1 billion people online in China, you have to be in the Chinese market, inside the firewall. That excludes Hong Kong, it excludes Macau, it excludes Taiwan, of course. But to get inside the firewall, you then have to comply with the national telecommunications codes and get a whole series of licenses. So people can do it, but it's immensely complicated, and it's something we've specialized in doing. We're not a co-location operator. We are focused on hyperscale build to suit. So our primary target customers are the world's biggest cloud companies, the big tech companies, and interestingly, the biggest co-location companies, because some of the leading co-location companies have yet to establish a fully effective China entry strategy. So they will be our route to delivering co-location. They'll be our customers, and their customers will then occupy the data center that we create for them. We do everything. We do the soup to nuts, as they call it here in America. We will determine the precise need of the organization. What we then do is that at the design level, we'll ensure that we tailor a facility so that in design and operational terms, it's as close as it can be to how those same organizations would like to build data centers and operate them anywhere else in the world. What we then do is we acquire the land. We negotiate with the government, we get the planning approvals, we get all of the power and the fiber commitments in place, so we create all of the infrastructure. Then we will commission the building. We're not a builder. So we will build what we have agreed we're going to build and designed with our customer. So we will use great contractors, a general contractor and supply chain in China, and we will then bring on line the right amount of capacity at the right stage for that customer. We have an approach called assured scalability, which allows us to be able to do a deal with a particular customer for as little as, say, 2 megawatts, but then we will dedicate a complete building to them if we believe that they're going to grow over maybe 3, 4, 5 years into that space. And what we'll do there, at 100 business days notice, we'll bring on stream increments of 1 megawatt of data center processing capacity. It's like turn up the gas and bring it on when you've got the demand. And that's really important in China. Well, at the moment, we are just completing our first facility in Tianjin. The Tianjin campus is 80 acres. It will have 9 data centers on it, about 25,000 racks in total, so quite significant. And in power terms, we have 300 megawatts committed to that site, which, depending on the design, will support between 140 and 180 megawatts of IT load. So quite a lot of power and a very great deal of delivery on that. So we've completed the first phase of our first facility on that site. So we had a lot of people coming into Tianjin. It's only an hour and a quarter down the road from Beijing. We had a lot of people coming to look at the site. And the great news is they've been excited for us, because we're building something that's off the scale in standard terms in China. And people are coming along and they're getting it. And they see this is big, it's good, and very importantly, it's available now. If you haven't got land that's going to be supportive in every respect, of the data center development on it, and you haven't got the associated infrastructure, then it just doesn't work. There are people that we've seen who have not understood site selection in China, particularly, where developers have heard data centers are a good thing to be in, so they've gone out and they've bought a piece of land. And then they've tried to go out and get the power and the fiber and the rest. And of course, that's completely the wrong way around. When we started in China, we did a comprehensive analysis of where all of the power and all of the surplus power was across the whole of China. We understand every single pricing point in terms of the power price. And in China, of course, there is low-cost power available, But in low-cost power locations, there are sometimes other factors in site selection that need to be taken account of. So fiber connectivity costs might be very expensive, might be very less than available. You may only have one carrier or two carriers. Similarly, you may have future government policy, which means that the risk of local disturbance could be a lot higher, particularly as you go to the west of China. So we focus on the 60 or 70 standard points that all major data center occupiers will want to see. They want to make sure they know where all of the local hazards are. They want to make sure that they know everything about flooding and seismic activity. They definitely don't want to be next to a railway line that carries dynamite and all those kind of things. So, but actually, the more we work with the major occupiers of data centers, the more one sees that, in fact, the common denominator is that they all have 80% the same required on the site selection front. And we started our business from the US board table backwards. So if you imagine having written a business case and then designed it backwards. So the things that we focus on are all the things that are on site selection, but then getting tax incentives, getting tax breaks for both executives who are employed, for the corporation itself and where it's placed. Very importantly, import duty tax waivers, which are massively important if you're importing servers. And then other things like community engagement, because we think that's really important. You can't have a bulldozed village. You can say you've got a wonderful green data center and then it comes out in the press that in fact, the bulldozers went in and cleared a village, which is never a good headline. So we think these things through. We've recently, very importantly, I'm really excited about the fact that we've set up our Chayora Academy linkage with the Tianjin Vocational Institute, this really fascinating university that the senior leaders in Tianjin introduced us to, because we wanted to make sure that not only could we have an environment where we could train our staff and our customers' staff and the supply chain staff to good international standards, but we want to be able to hire, and our customers to be able to hire bright, smart, young people from the area, because that's how good businesses do good business. So we've now got a linkage with the Tianjin, this great university in Tianjin, where they have, amazingly, out of 17,000 students at the university, have 2,000 on the big data and telecommunications programs, and that's exciting.